Hi guys.
Hi. So Jeremy and I wanted to do another video. It's been a couple of months. I don't know if you can see us both in there or not. I
Yeah.
have to lean in there. So we wanted to give everybody sort of a background on Autumn. First of all, for those of you that have been asking for pictures and sending them, we've been sending them all over the country. Autumn has now been to Japan and Tokyo and
Australia.
Australia. She's been to the Bahamas. She's been to Costa Rica, Guatemala. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible, and we can't thank you enough for your kindness. Every time we see her picture in a different part of the world, it fills our hearts, and it's such a healing thing that's happened. It was unexpected, and we just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and a special shout out to Jim F.
Yeah.
He has been amazing. He has dedicated a lot of time to sharing Autumn all over the place.
He's just been really mindful. Thank you, Jim, so much. Christine, Day Tripper, just so many people, and we're just very grateful. So we wanted to give you an idea of who Autumn is, who she was here in this life, and what kinds of things led to her passing. So Autumn was born in 1997. She would have been
She'll be 26 this October.
26 October 9th. Autumn was born with Down syndrome, and she had quarter-size hole in her heart right in the middle of all four ventricles. She had open heart surgery when she was 6 months old. But after that, she was very typical with her peers. For the first 3 years of her life, she was in and out of Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. But after that, she was very healthy and did things the way her peers did them. She grew and matured and laughed and played and built relationships. She could speak in complete sentences. Typical functioning for her peer group. I would say probably about the fourth or fifth grade, we started seeing some interesting behavior that just wasn't normal for home. She started displaying this behavior at school, running away, suddenly not wanting to talk, not using her words. We thought it was school. We thought that there was something going on there, that she wasn't able to communicate with us. So we did homeschooling for many years. She did fairly well with that for a long time. She had a community of support with family, her grandparents, her brothers, us, a church family. But probably, I would say 10 years ago, so probably when Autumn was about 16. Do you feel like that's
14 to 16.
14 to 16 years old? Things got really rough for her. We started noticing further decline. Although we didn't know it was decline, we thought it was what Down syndrome was supposed to look like for her. We didn't know that it wasn't typical. We would mention things to her doctor, and we would hear things like, this is typical for your daughter. This is what Down syndrome is going to look like for her. But as the years went on, we noticed that wasn't the case. It just seemed like there was something more wrong. She lost her ability to speak. She was losing
herself.
She wasn't being able to feed herself, and really odd behavior that was just bizarre, to say the least. As it increased into her 20s, this behavior became more intense, more frequent. She did a lot of headbanging, some self-harm behavior, lots and lots of screaming and crying, and unable to tell us what's wrong. We went to several doctors, found a Down syndrome specialist. They diagnosed her at first. They thought it was early onset Alzheimer's. That was not it.
Parkinson's.
They thought it was Parkinson's. That was not it. They even mentioned maybe some psychological disorders or mental health disorders like schizophrenia, major depression disorder. So, to say the very least, we went on a buffet of medications and lots of bunny trails and lots of different treatment methods, and none of them worked.
And also, out of all the specialists and experts, you know, we followed everything that everybody suggested, and some things were so awful. It just made it so much worse. And eventually, we decided, you know what, we're the experts on our daughter. We know her better than anybody, and this is not right. This isn't normal for her, is what we kept being told. This is just normal for her. No, it's not. Until we finally got somewhere with it.
Yeah. So this is hard to talk about. She got really, really sick. She couldn't feed herself anymore. She couldn't walk across the room in a typical amount of time. For example, I'm a documenter, so I documented everything that was happening to her because I was trying to get someone to listen to me. It would take her hours. One time I documented 8 hours to go across the house to the bathroom, from the living room to the bathroom, which wasn't very far. We walked, we crawled. Her body just rusted. I remember telling the doctor it was like the Tin Man. She was rusting, and it was just this slow fade, and it was really, really scary. And one day I was helping her chew her food on the couch. I was literally moving her jaw so that she could chew her food. And I knew something was really, really wrong. So we took her to OSU. We were there in the emergency department for 3 days. Finally, they sent us to the psychiatry unit, which was the best thing that happened. I got to stay with her, which was unusual from what I understand. But from there, we got a diagnosis of something called catatonia regression disorder. It's literally 2 symptoms pushed together, and it's a disorder. It's a fairly rare neurological disorder that happens with people with Down syndrome. When we first found this out, our friend Debbie found a Facebook group where there were like 60 to 70 parents who were noticing the same set of symptoms, same patterns of behavior, same things, same onset around the same age. And we were so grateful to Debbie because we thought we were completely alone in this.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's several hundred families from all over the world that have noticed these symptoms in their children with Down syndrome. We were at OSU for 3 weeks. We started Ativan and ECT, which was the only known at the time treatment for this disorder. In that time, my nose is running. In that time, Autumn, we had ECT treatments 3 times a week for several weeks, and then, for several months actually. But we were there for 3 weeks. She came in barely able to move, unable to chew her food, unable to really walk on her own. She was in a wheelchair. And after, I'd say the third treatment, after the first one, she was making eye contact again, which had went away.
It's a process.
After about the 3rd treatment, she was walking again, eating her food. She was laughing. Do you remember when she was laughing and playing with us for the first time? It was incredible.
Started seeing glimpses of the
her.
old Autumn that we'd lost.
It was like she was animated again. The really sad thing about, there was lots of sad things about what happened to her, but one of the things was she lost her ability to feel joy and happiness. Her emotional range was just sadness and pain and really suffering. ECT and Ativan brought her back. But over the years, we did ECT. We were driving a couple of hours every week, and then it slowed down to once a week, and then once every 2 weeks. And we never really got past once every 2 weeks. We tried, but it didn't work.
We regressed back.
Yeah.
The effects would only last for a week, 2 tops.
Yeah.
And
she would stop going to the bathroom. She would stop moving, stop eating. Those things just all slowed down again. She rusted again very, very quickly. And eventually her body, it wasn't that she rejected the ECT, but her body was deteriorating to the point where it was taking, we would have had to do ECT every other day.
Yeah.
That's how fast the symptoms were coming back.
And it wasn't a pleasant thing for her or us to have to, her one to have to go through and us to watch and to get her there and to do it. And to where she eventually just made the conscious decision that she just wasn't doing it anymore. Like, she was done. She let us know in her way that I'm not doing this anymore.
And finally, instead of listening to everyone else, we started listening to her. And she told us she was done. And we stopped ECT in February of 2021.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
February of 2021, February or March. And she passed away November 16th of 2021. So that's what happened to our little girl. But as she was passing, she was on hospice, and as she was passing, she was surrounded by the people who loved her the most. Her brothers, Paul and Chase, and her nieces and nephew, and her dad and I, and hospice nurses that we could never thank enough or give enough back to for what they did for our daughter. My sister-in-law, Heather, my mother, people who loved her in life and loved her to her new life. So that's a little bit about Autumn, a little bit about the disease that took her, but please know that that's not all of who she was. It was her, that was the disease that took her.
But her spirit changed the lives of everybody she came into contact with.
Autumn was my teacher. Autumn taught me about endurance and strength and courage and bravery. Patience. She was the most beautiful person I've ever met and likely will ever meet in my life. So that's what brought us here. And where we are in the process of honoring her life and where she is now, we are going to talk a little bit about where we are in the process of walking the Appalachian Trail in our healing journey, and to take Autumn with us.
So currently we are and have been planning for months now about our through hike of the AT. We're starting March 4th will actually be our start date. That's when we're going to start the trail. But the whole process, there's just so much to it. We've sold and gave away so much of our stuff. I sold my Harley a couple weeks ago. Still hurts. But we're taking this very seriously. And we are in the process of getting our home ready to sell, to be put on the market probably within the next couple weeks. And just saving, selling, getting our supplies, giving all of our equipment, getting everything we need, and looking into the trail. We're on it.
Yay!
Right now. We're
on the trail right now. We're in Damascus, which is really cool.
Currently in Damascus. We hiked part of the Grayson Highlands yesterday and
saw some ponies.
Took Autumn's picture with the ponies.
Mm-hmm. So what gear do we have right now?
Well, so far,
trekking poles.
Trekking poles
and shoes. Shoes and trekking poles. We bought a stove, the pocket rocket yesterday.
We bought our cooking stove, our cooking pot.
What else did we buy? We bought the Sawyer water squeezes, the mini squeeze that kind of screw onto the smart water bottles. We bought some odor-proof bags. We were at Marion Outdoors. Shout out to Marion Outdoors coach. We haven't met him yet, but we're looking forward to meeting him today. So we're staying in Marion, Virginia, and we're really excited about that.
So for those who think we're not serious about this, it's gonna hurt, but we're dead serious.
Yeah. So we're walking part of the trail today in Damascus. We're going to see if we can make it to the Tennessee line. We're under the impression it's a 7-mile round trip. from the start in Damascus up to the Tennessee line and
We hope.
down. We hope, but we don't know. We walked about 4 miles yesterday in the Grayson Highlands.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. It was a little emotional to be on the trail because that's the first time we've actually touched the trail, and Autumn came with us. So.
Rather than seeing it on videos or TV, you know, or hearing about it or talking about it, we were on it.
Yeah. So the plan moving forward, guys, in closing, is just to, I'm going to be done at my work likely in October. I'm thinking about doing telehealth for my clients moving forward. My husband's going to stay at his job driving truck until February.
Into January.
Yeah, so in October, I'll be staying with my son for a while, and Jeremy's going to be staying between his mom and sister to go to work. I'm going to be about 3 hours away from him for the next 4 or 5 months. He's likely going to come down on weekends, but this is how we're going to make it work to pay for the trail and to pay for the adventure. Yeah, it's not going to be great.
But the end goal is worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, to the little temporary is worth where we're going.
So we're really grateful for all the support. We're really grateful for all the kind words. There's only been a couple people that said, you guys are crazy, but...
Yeah, what I get a lot is, you guys are walking?
Why?
You're like, yeah, you know, it's like 2,200 miles or so through 14 states, and that's when the look comes.
Yeah.
You're walking?
Yeah.
You're camping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what we know, and we're going to say goodbye with this. We know that in our life, God has taught us really hard things happen. And as a result of those hard things, character grows, strength grows, endurance grows, gifts come from those hard things. But in our life in the past, we didn't know that until after the hard things came, until after they went away. Here's what we know this time that we've never had the privilege of knowing before. We know now as we journey towards getting on trail, and when we get on trail, we know that gifts will come from it. And we're looking forward to watching out for those gifts and collecting them and passing them on and filling our hearts along the way, and then from the overflow, filling the people's hearts around us, those that we love and people that we meet. So lots of love, and thank you for encouragement.
Thanks, guys. Till next video.
Bye.
It'll be sooner.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, bye.